Hey YouTube, I am getting over a cold and I am hopped up on pseudoephedrine and caffeine, so I'm feeling pretty good. Let's see if I can get through a video here. My Patreon patrons wanted to see iMPC Pro, and that's what I'll do here. This is most often used for doing hip hop. The whole MPC line is like famous for its contributions to hip hop, but I use a machine and I've never made any hip hop at all. So I'm actually going to show that this can be used for other purposes. And in this case, I'm going to be sampling rock and roll to make more rock and roll. And to start off with, I'm going to grab the beginning riffs in Soundgarden's 4th of July. Nice meaty and chunky here. And now I get to determine how I want to slice this up. And before you get going here, like if you start moving things around and then you decide 3 or 4 slices in that you need more slices, as soon as you add another slice, it gets rid of any changes you've made. So if you've got all kinds of intricate little changes, you're going to lose them all. So I just start off maxing it out. 16 is probably a fair number. And now I want to get groupings of the same note, but I'm not going to just rip that. You'll see what I'll do later. So listening to this, all right, I really like that, so I'm going to start tweaking on this. And you see as I drag it over, it's removing the slices, so now it's down to 14. So it's much easier to remove them than add them. Sorry, I'm not quite over the cold yet. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. All right, I like that. I'm going to go through now and listen for any kind of transients that are screwed up on the big ones that I've done here. So for 5, that's actually very clean. You've got to make sure that you're listening for pops and clicks because there's no like real transient detection in where it puts the slice markers. So I got really lucky here. I'm going to say that's done. And shit, I should have renamed that. I'll deal with that later. Let's make a new track here. And on this one, I'm going to throw in the beginning of 9 Inch Nails' Love Is Not Enough, which has a lot of different kinds of drums. So sample that. All right, and once again, I'm going to try to chop it to the pads. So you see, as I moved 1 too much, it's now making number 2 sound a little late. I want it to be right as that hits. So I select that, move it over. It's a little easier if you zoom in. I don't want that snare in that. And I also don't want that rim shot or whatever. Damn. All right. I'm not even going to try to screw with the hats. I just want to get the kicks and some variations on the snares. See, that's one of those transients I got to watch out for. So what I like to do here is just zoom in to the max, and you see we've got a light gray and a dark gray, and I'm trying to get it lined up to a point where it's the waveform is at 0, so that should avoid any of that. All right, I think that's enough drum samples. Let me remember to save this now. Shit. Fuck it. So now I'm just listening to the different sounds that I've got now. There's definitely a transient at the end of that one. Oh, you notice how it's much quieter when I'm in this versus when I'm out here? This is a great tip, right? Go into the mixer settings and reduce the gain. Because it's got this compressor at the end with all this gain. It's going to make your waveforms on SoundCloud look like a brick. And when you do that, all the other kids on SoundCloud are going to make fun of you. So the first thing you should probably do is go in here, lower the gain. You won't go deaf. All right. I'm trying to find the ones that I got without the hats on it. All right. Drag that over here. Drag that over here. Yeah, I thought I had another kick. All right, I'm going to need another kick, so fortunately, all this has been non-destructive editing, so I can just go back into this whole big waveform thing and try to find kicks that don't have hats all over them. All right, that's good. I'll play with this as a double kick. It does have a hat in the beginning, though. Oh yeah, if you do make changes to your slices after the fact, and then you close your project and reopen it, iMPC is just going to forget all of your changes. So if you do make changes to your slices, you need to make this an entirely separate file. And a good and simple way to do that is just tapping on the icon here and hitting discard ends. And now you see it's got the exclamation or the ampersand up there. It's not ampersand, asterisk. It's now treating this as an entirely separate file. So I hit done, and it's going to save that as a separate file. When I open it up, it's just the double kick there. So that is a really good tip for if you're going to change your slices after the fact. All right, and I think I'm going to put the hats on a separate track altogether. But let me throw in a little pattern here. I really like that double kick. Let's see how this sounds. I'll do a slight variation to that. Yeah, that's good enough for now. I'm gonna should probably be naming all these, but I know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to do that. And for this, I'm just going to throw in real quickly some hi-hats. So this is going to make it more sense in a second here. Let me just throw this in here. And a great thing that you can do with all these kinds of programs is set mute groups. So if I go back into the program settings for this and enter the parameters, these are my hats. If I set them to a mute group, when one of these triggers, it's going to cause the other one to silence, so they won't overlap. So that it's like a real hi-hat scenario where you can't have an open hat and a closed hat sound because that's a physical drum thing that just can't happen. So I got the makings of my little groove here. And I'm going to pop back up to the first track that I made was the Soundgarden ripoff. All right, let me show you something that I've figured out here. That sounds good, right? If I drag that over here, and I have two copies of this, I can change the tuning on one of them so that it sounds different, right? So I'll pump this up a bunch so that it sounds distinct. You can hear that one of those is playing much slower than the other one. And if you put that on the timeline, it's going to be like abundantly obvious. So you hear how this one ends right here and this one ends right here. That's going to fuck your shit right up, right? There's no time stretching with this BPM at all. So in order to get around that, you've got to not try to do any of this, like, I'm going to be lazy and grab whole riffs and just tune them around. You got to go in for actual slices, but you can still get away with some pretty interesting stuff, because if you're listening to the tonality of the riffs or the strumming, you can say, hey, this has got a great crunch on this one. I like that, so I'm going to play with that. And then you listen for another distinct sort of strum sound. So let me show you that real quick. So on the I like the first there. And once again, remembering to discard the ends so that it's saved as its own project or its own file. And on this one, I'm going to grab the second chunk. And grabbing that original one again to put it up. Oh, the original one, putting it up here. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't the original one. Shit. Alright, I'll work with those. And I edit that to find the bits that I like. That second one has a really long kind of sustain to it. I like that. I want to get that initial attack. I'm getting so lucky on not hitting transients. I swear in previous play sessions I've had to get in here and really fine-tune it, but that sounds pretty good. Let's hear how it sounds out here. Yay! All right. And I'm going to change the tuning on that. Did I edit that? Okay, I did edit, but didn't save my edits, and that's actually going to work out for me because I want to copy that now and grab the... No, I don't. Never mind. I want that. All right. Oh, fuck. Well, there is an undo. Can I... Oh, yay. Doesn't look like that worked at all. Fuck. Alright, I'm gonna make lemonade out of this. Listening to that, I was hearing how the sustained notes at the end actually sound better together than the quick ones. So what I'm going to actually do here is try to grab those individually. So you see what I'm doing there? I'm making my own riff out of Soundgarden's riffs, taking individual slices of particular strums and adding different tunings to make them unique. Still a transient on that one. That's driving me crazy, but I don't want to drag this thing out any further than I already have, because wow, this is turning into a long video. So let me show you the idea that I have in mind here. So this is, I'll make this one what I've already worked on, and on this one I'm going to throw in an entirely different riff that's going to take up 4 bars, kind of like the way that I was playing around with it before. You can quickly drag and select and delete stuff. Set this back to quarter notes here. This has already gone really long. I'm going to stop now before I have another coughing fit. I hope that this was informative. I'm sorry that it was kind of all over the place. Thank you very much to my Patreon patrons for suggesting this, and thank you very much to everybody who makes this possible. It really means a lot to me. Take it easy, guys. I want to throw in a supercharger, which you could just throw a whole bunch of like a unison wave kind of thing at it. But what I'm going to use this for is to add a sub bass. And you can set it to either 2 octaves or 1. I'm just giving it 1, and I don't want any detune. All right, it's already sounding like the basis of something epic, but of course we need to get some reverb on this. Let's go large. One thing that's in here that I really like to play with is the FM oscillator, which is... I've never done a video on FM. Frequency modulation synthesis is basically sending waves at waves. So you use one wave to change another wave. And in Sunvox, it's really simplified. You've only got two waves to work with. You've got a carrier that you hear,